Hello everybody and welcome to another short video of IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad. It's been a pretty eventful week for this title for me. I've been flying basically every day, and it's been quite a challenge getting my joystick to work properly in this game. When I say properly, I mean just making the sensitivity just as I like it, and applying the curves just as I like them, and as well as applying the dead zones and so on, where I just don't want my joystick to do anything to work properly. But all of that has been more or less done now. I'm pretty happy with how it worked out, and hopefully that's also going to improve me while I'm flying. Now what you see here is just a short little test I once again did. I'm very interested in how these weapons work at the moment in IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad and how the damage models work. What I'm flying at the moment is lag-free with the 37mm cannon, loading only HE shells, so I'm not loading any kind of armor-penetrating rounds here. It's only HE. And I have chosen 3 waves of Junkers 87s as my target. Now currently the 37mm cannon isn't very popular, for good reason of course. You only have 30 shots and you really have to make them count. And you also don't have really big targets. You don't see a lot of Stukas in the multiplayer. But I guess once the Heinkel 111 arrives, things will change slightly, and you will see more of these cannons being used. Now, what I'm interested here is a couple of things. First of all, I want to see if I can actually hit something. Second of all, I want to see what the kind of recoil this gun has. And third of all, I want to see what kind of effect it has on the enemy plane. Now, this Junkers 87 that we see right here, he's been in my sights a couple of times, but I'm not very used to the gun just yet, so I missed my first cannon shot, and then with this one I only hit with the MGs that fired simultaneously as the cannons. Now interesting enough as well, in this video, in the end you will see me doing, well, I guess the Russians would call it Taran, I think it was. It's basically crashing my plane into the enemy plane, and basically doing the thing some Russian pilots used to do when they ran out of ammunition. And my plane survives, so we're going to have a look at that in more detail very soon. And also, as you just saw there, I had a little bit of a hit on the Junkers 87 with my 37mm cannon, and let's also have a look at that in the external view. That way you guys can see what kind of damage was inflicted. We'll see that the flaps on the right wing are quite damaged, but it's not the effect that I would have anticipated from a 37mm cannon. I'm not really an expert on these weapons, but I would presume, or at least think, that that flap would be more devastatingly hit. But with this hit right here, we hit the Junkers 87 in the weak spot between the tail and the center fuselage, and you tend to get planes quite easily if you hit them there. So there was a 37mm high explosive shells right into that section, and of course the Junkers 87 is not going to survive that. Now this is where the interesting thing happens. The second Junkers 87 pops up, and I'm feeling a little bit more confident now, and I think I can kind of push these shots into the enemy. And then I see this Junkers 87 just turning inside me, and I react too late, and yeah, there you see the Junkers 87 pummeling to its death. One of the wings is gone, and I check my wing, as you can see there, and it's like, what the hell happened? Did I just, saw his wing off? Is that really what happened just there? But we'll have a look at that in the external view very, very soon, because this is going to happen again. I'm very much intrigued now as how this, worked, and did it really work? Is that really what happened, or is there some kind of funny thing that went on? So I'm just going to try it again. I'm going to try to line up a shot on this Junkers 87, shoot if I can. If not, I'm going to try to hit my plane into him and see if I can still fly off. So we're just making our Immelmann here, trying to set ourselves again up for an attack run on this enemy plane. He's pulling up into us again, and for now let's not push it. Let's try it again. This looks good. Now let's see what happens here. This is the interesting bit. You can see we're going straight ahead. I fire a shot, I hit him as well, and his plane just evaporates really, and my plane is still fine. So yeah, that's quite interesting observation that we did there. And before we have a look at those two moments in the external camera, I just want to point out the recoil of this gun. Now again, I'm not an expert on the 37mm cannon that were used by the Russians, but I know that pilots were told specifically not to fire more than 3 rounds. At least that's what I read from source material, and that this cannon would, you know, be devastating to the plane's interior as well. You know, it would rupture oil fuel lines and so on. In this game, all that happens when you fire, of course you cannot model the maintenance stuff into it, but all that happens when you fire is your nose pushes up slightly, and I think that effect is a little bit, how shall I say, underwhelming maybe. For a 37mm cannon, and maybe that should be more. There should be more aggressive modeling for this cannon. Let's have a look at all of that in the external camera. I'm just gonna run again the first crash, so to say, that we had. You can see there, Junkers 87 starts out. Let's let it run. And we have us just flying past him. Then suddenly you see this wing just slowly breaking away, and then it just rips off and the Junkers 87 goes down. So let's have a look at that as well in slow motion, just to see what happens. And you can see our wings just basically touching each other, going through each other, and then the enemy plane has this catastrophic wing failure, so to say, but we're fine. And then let's have a look at the second example here. Once again, Junkers 87, we hit him, and then he just, you know, completely goes foobar, so to say. The pilots make it out though. I would think that 37mm that hit, it basically hit him right in the center fuselage. I think, you know, something like that would severely injure the pilots. But they did make it out, so that's good. But yeah, that's an interesting look. Again, I'm just gonna let it run in the background once more, just so you guys can see what happened. We're also going to have the first kill once again shown there. It's interesting. I was very much surprised when this happened. First of all, the first shot I fired with the 37mm cannon, you know, it really depends where you hit the enemy plane. A 37mm cannon is mainly a one-shot weapon. But, for example, if you fire an armor-penetrating round, and it just basically, what in armored warfare you would say over-penetration, you know, it just flies out on one side. You know, you have more than one report of B-17 bombers basically being directly hit by a flak shell, and because those were timed fuses, the shell just went right through the wing, and there was a big massive hole there, but no explosion, and the plane, so to say, you know, it has some kind of problems with lift on one side, but it flew fine. Yeah, but with this 37mm hit right there, I'm not quite sure if the damage that we see really should not be more severe. But with the second hit, of course, you know, there was no chance there for the Stuka. Absolutely no chance. What I do find interesting, however, is these crashes. Of course, it is possible to sew another airplane's wing off. You know, that has happened in the war as well. Some pilots have purposely tried it and also purposely succeeded in it. You know, just using their wings, so to say, as a sword, more or less, to sew off the enemy's plane wings. And it's a very high risk maneuver, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. But I'm quite surprised how this LAC was able to withstand 2 of those hits with little damage. Literally, that plane flew as it flew before. So I'm a little bit surprised, first of all, and a little bit astonished, really, that this is possible, and that my plane didn't have any kind of visual damage, first of all, and that it really flew as it did before. Of course, you can also see that the Junkers 87, the damage modeling of those 2 wings hitting, wasn't immediate. You basically saw those two wings going past each other, and then after a couple of seconds that wing with no visual damage to it just snapped off. That being said, however, IL-2 BOS is still at officially 63% completion, so damage models and so on are not yet 100% as they should be, or as the developer envisions them. I guess this is a case here where it's just work in progress, but since I'm covering this title, I also want to show off these kinds of things. Keep in mind, of course, it is in development. Things might be changed. Things will certainly be changed. I'm not quite sure if it will be applicable to this specific example, but things change every week with the weekly updates they have. But yeah, with me covering this title, I also want to show off some of the stages that are still work in progress, and as such, give you guys a balanced view on IL-2 BOS, because, well, let's face it, for a lot of you guys who have started playing flight sims with War Thunder and are maybe interested in IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad, the asking price is quite high. But for you guys, I have good news, because I will be making a video contrasting War Thunder with IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad, and basically telling you guys, if you do get IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad, what you're getting yourself into, what kind of expectation you should have to yourself towards the game. And we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about the pricing of the title. We're going to talk about developers a little bit. And also, we're simply going to talk about the game itself and how I feel it. And I'm basically going to be completely honest in that video, telling you about every little thing that I had a problem with IL-2 Battle of Stalingrad, and everything that was good about the title. And I can tell you there already from now, there's a lot of those good things. But yeah, if you're interested in that video, just keep an eye out on the channel. It will be up soon. And as always, have a great day, good hunting, and see you in the sky.